Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Monique Pagan. Thank you so much for being here. Today, I will be sharing a pregnancy update from weeks 21 to 23. If you are new to my channel, thank you for joining. Welcome. Grab yourself a tea and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm a mom of two boys. One is 4, my youngest is 2.5. And I am currently pregnant with a baby girl. I am 23 weeks and 2 days today. And I am filming this on December the 8th of 2020. Okay, so pregnancy update. Let's go back to week 21. Okay, so at week 21, somewhere around week 21, I went to see my midwife. So I went to see my midwives at the end of my 20th week, right? And so she had never seen me before, even though it's like the same midwife group. And she was looking at that my last pregnancy was a preterm labor and delivery. And so what happened last pregnancy with my with Lennox was that my waters broke. So I had PPROM, it's premature rupture of the membranes. And she suggested that I take progesterone and in the form of shots instead of like vaginal inserts. So she wanted me to take a shot every single week up until week 37. And I just wasn't feeling comfortable with taking this shot of extra progesterone. I was like, no one has checked to see if my progesterone levels are low. I did some research to see if it's been proven for women who had pre-prom prior for this to work for them. And also she's mentioned that I was like at the very last end of when it's recommended to start taking it, or else the effectiveness of it will go down. The effectiveness of progesterone, I hear, is also in question at the moment now. And then what I read was it helped women whose cervix shortened during their pregnancy. It helped women who went into preterm labor, but it didn't really have solid research on women who had PPROM. And it's completely different. Like my waters broke before my body even was ready to go into labor. They actually allowed me to go into natural labor or into labor naturally. And it took about a week for me to give birth to my son prematurely. And so, again, if you're interested in that story, I will happily make another video to talk about that separately. And so just looking back at why that happened, why the PPROM happened, I remembered that I had gotten like some green vaginal discharge. Now listen, I'm going to like be real and authentic and lay it open on this channel. So if that is not for you, this channel is not for you. I'm just going to let you know. It's going to be a real time, okay? It's going to be real. So I remember getting green discharge a couple of days before my waters broke. I also was in a car accident a couple of weeks before. I also had to let go of my, at the time, babysitter. So I was under a lot of stress as well. And so they say that inflammation and infection can cause PPROM, can cause your waters to break prematurely. And just knowing that I saw green discharge 2 days before and not really knowing also to let my midwives know, I just was like, oh, I saw it one time. Let me just keep an eye on it to see if it happens again. It didn't happen again. It just happened that one time, but my waters broke two days afterwards. And so just knowing that information let me know that, hey, this is not about my cervix shortening, or this is not about my body going into labor faster. This was an infection that caused the PPROM. And so I chose not to go ahead with the progesterone. Instead, I chose to just really take good care of my vaginal health and to make sure that everything was on point down there. And so even before this visit, the midwife that I saw before, like again, it's a team of midwives, she told me that I have group B strep. So if you've been pregnant before, you know about group B strep. They call it GBS as well, but it's a bacteria that lives inside of us and around us. And some of us have an overgrowth of it, some of us don't, but it can be very dangerous for the baby if you have it and you're not treated for it during labor. But they decided to treat me for it because they found it in my urine. And so they say that it's because of an overgrowth and that I have too much. So they were looking at me like, you don't have any signs of UTI? Are you not burning? I'm like, no, I don't feel anything. So she treated me with antibiotics for about 5 days. I took that. The next time I went in, it was still there, just a little bit. And so I ended up developing symptoms around week 22. And I started to feel like a little bit of burning in the morning time. Again, this didn't happen throughout the day. It was only in the morning time. It happened one day and then it happened the next morning as well. And so I called the midwives, let them know that, hey, I'm feeling this sensation. I'm getting symptoms of UTI. They decided to treat me. So I went on another round of antibiotics, and that was for another 5 days. It was 2 pills for 5 days. I think it was amoxicillin. And then this past week, I started to feel like I had a yeast infection. And so I called them again, say, hey, I'm feeling raw. Things are not feeling right. So I'm like, really, I feel like I'm bothering them a little bit, but they don't seem bothered at all. I just feel like I'm bothering them. But I'm like, I'm going to be on top of this vaginal health. Now, if you are newly pregnant, you might not know that your vaginal area is very sensitive during pregnancy. Like the hormones and just being pregnant can knock off the bacterial balance within. And so really stay on top of your vaginal health. Stay on top of it. And so now I am currently on, I'm treating the yeast infection and I'm starting to feel better. Also making sure that I drink lots and lots of water, taking all of my vitamins, my prenatal vitamins. Vitamin C also helps keep the bag strong. What's the bag called? The amniotic sac. It keeps it strong. So staying on top of that. Also taking probiotics, making sure I'm not eating a whole bunch of sugar. Those things can help as well. So that's where we are. I feel really good about making the decision of not going forward with the hormones instead of really taking care of my body in more natural ways. That feels really good to me. So other things that are happening in this pregnancy is that I have pubic bone pain. It's better after I've rested, but as I move throughout the day, especially if I'm doing things asymmetrically, it hurts. It hurts. And I just did a move and I'm now unpacking and I'm a little frustrated that I can't unpack as fast as I would like to because my body is just not allowing me to because I am in pain. I'm in pain. So the difference, I did have a question from a follower on Instagram, and it was how is my body feeling in this pregnancy versus my other pregnancies. So in my first pregnancy, I had a little hint of this pubic bone pain, but not much to complain about. But after I gave birth, it was like my recovery was horrible. It took a long time for that pain to go away. In my second pregnancy, I didn't feel it at all. I didn't have this pubic bone pain at all. I was very active. I worked out a lot. And in this one, I haven't worked out much at all. I just haven't felt the motivation, to be honest. I haven't felt like that's what I needed to do, that I needed to push my body in that way. However, I do feel like I need to be doing something gentle, like Pilates. So that's the difference in this pregnancy. Also, I feel like I'm in the third trimester and I'm actually still in the second trimester. My mobility it feels like I'm in the third trimester. I also get winded quicker. It's just like this time around, everything's happening much faster. Feeling the heaviness in the vagina, also like she feels heavy, and like the baby feels lower than my previous pregnancies. I feel a little bit weaker during this pregnancy, probably because I'm not working out as much. So yeah, that's the difference. The good thing about week 23 is that I get to feel baby more. I feel like she did like some somersaults in there yesterday, and she was kicking me in a different spot. And so that was very exciting. And I got another question. So this is the last question from Instagram, is how do I feel about having a third? This is very funny. Okay, let me tell you. So when I first found out that I was pregnant, I was like not in the mindset of having another baby at all. In fact, I had given away all of my things. I gave away my maternity clothes. I gave away my baby clothes. I was like, get this stuff out of my house. And then I found out that I was pregnant. I had to work through some emotions, but I am convinced. I'm convinced that she is supposed to be here. I'm convinced that she is meant to be, because of how she came about. I am, in my mind, and with my numbers, I was doing natural family planning as a birth control method. I ended up ovulating early, and I was like, this wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. So in my mind, I just feel like she was just flying in the ethos, waiting for that moment to make me ovulate early, and just kind of flew down into my body because she's supposed to be here. And because I have that belief that she's just meant to be here, it's really, really easy to accept that I am pregnant and that I'm having another baby. I know for sure, what I know for sure is that whatever happens in life, we have the tools to handle it. So if this baby is here, if she is in my belly, I have the tools to mother her. I have the tools to mother 3 of them. And I feel so secure in that belief, and I trust this divine plan. Even though it wasn't something that we planned, I am really, really excited about having her. I'm so excited about having her, actually. I don't know what I'm going to do when she gets here physically, because I feel like I'm already stretched to the max. Like I feel like I have nothing else, like no other space to give. But I know that I already have a lot of love for her. So everything will be okay. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a circus. And it's also going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect for our family. So that's the update. Thank you so much for joining me. If you found this video entertaining, exciting, helpful in any kind of way, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to hit the bell as well so that you get notifications of when I post. Thank you so much, and have a great one.